200 years ago, Napoleon said, "Let China sleep, for when she wakes, she will shake the world." Well, everyone, the Chinese dragon awakes. The problem is the American sheeple continue to sleep. Those of us who have awakened know that China has been pushing to replace the US dollar with the yuan as reserve currency of the world. It is almost unthinkable what would happen to the sheeple's wealth and way of life if this were to occur. But we are closer than you may think. Something that seems really odd lately is that it seems like Washington and Beijing are working together to jack up the yuan while crushing the value of the dollar. While most Americans are busy doing other things, China is setting up shop in America, and the sheeple's way of life will soon be much different. Many of the sheeple wouldn't think of missing Dancing with the Stars, but unfortunately, they probably did miss this bit of information. The Fed clears the way for Chinese firms to buy U.S. banks. For the first time in history, the Federal Reserve gave the thumbs up to an acquisition of a U.S. bank by a Chinese bank, opening the door for future purchases. The Fed actually approved the application of 3 big Chinese banks to enter the U.S. banking market. The Simpsons is a can't-miss show for many of the sheeple, but unfortunately while watching the latest Simpsons show, the following bit of information probably slipped under the sheeple's nose. As of June 1st, Japan and China dropped the US dollar and kicked it to the curb as they switched to a yen-yuan direct trading. This was announced in December of 2011, and I did a video on it and actually had close to 11,000 people watch the video. The Real Housewives of Orange County is pretty high up on some of the sheeple's list, but unfortunately, I'm sure those missed the fact that Citigroup launched the yuan-denominated bank accounts in the UK recently. And although many Americans already started to convert dollars to yuan at the Bank of China here in the US, this now gives London traction as a key offshore yuan trading center. Family Guy is definitely a favorite of many of the sheeple. And I'm sure that while watching Family Guy, they missed the following information. U.S. lets China bypass Wall Street for Treasury orders. Treasury's first ever direct relationship with a foreign government. One of the perks of holding 1.17 trillion of our national debt, or 7.5%. What this allows China to do is to go directly in and buy bonds and bypass any Wall Street firm or brokerage house. I would certainly be willing to bet that the sheeple keeping up with the Kardashians missed out on the plans of a Chinese group to construct a 200-acre China City in Michigan. Unfortunately, the goal of this Chinese group doesn't appear to be to integrate the new city into the existing community in and around Milan, Michigan. Rather, it appears that all the new housing will be sold to people coming over from China. New housing units would be marked to Chinese business people who want to start companies in the United States. In essence, we'd be looking at a new Chinese city right in the middle of Michigan. We all know how important American Idol is, and I'm sure it was able to keep many of the sheeple from learning that Idaho's for sale and China is buying. After years of China dumping cheap products in America and making trillions of dollars in the process, China is now buying up pieces of the United States and setting up what are called special economic zones. Idaho legislature is in the middle of talks with the Chinese to buy 50 square mile piece of property south of Boise. California turns to Chinese company and labor to build most of the new Bay Bridge span. Wow! Let's listen to what Mr. William Ibbs, professor of construction management at University of California, Berkeley, has to say about that.
Today's engineers need to be more than a technician. They need to be a manager. So you're concerned about what you're building and how much it's going to cost and how long it's going to take. I think it's unfortunate that the economics are such that we find it difficult, we in the United States find it difficult to compete on big projects like this worldwide. But then on the other hand, as a taxpayer, I want the government to be thrifty with my dollars.
Well, of course. Got to be thrifty with the dollars. I mean, forget the fact we got 14 million Americans out of work, and this huge project would employ a couple people. Let's just allow the work to be done in China.
Certainly there's nothing wrong with taking in a good sporting event. I mean, after all, I was a bat boy for the Oakland A's, and I can appreciate a good sporting event. But the sheeple that only pay attention and live, sleep, and watch sports day and night probably missed out on the Obama administration allowing Chinese government to buy up U.S. oil and gas deposits worth billions of dollars. Let's watch this clip and let's all catch up on what's really happening with the footprint that's being made by the Chinese in the United States with our oil deposits.
So I'll go ahead and get you up to date on that. Colorado, CNOOC, gained a 1/3 stake in 800,000 acres. Louisiana, Sinopec has a 1/3 interest, 265,000 acres. Michigan, Sinopec gained 1/3 interest, 350,000 acres. In Ohio, Sinopec acquired 1/3 stake in Devon Energy's 235,000 acres. Oklahoma, Sinopec has a 1/3 interest in 215,000 acres. Texas, CNOOC acquired 1/3 interest in 600,000 acres, $2.16 billion deal. In Wyoming, CNOOC has a $1.7 billion deal, Chesapeake Energy, 320,000 acres. And in the Gulf of Mexico, CNOOC has separately acquired minority stakes in various companies.
I hear that many sheeple love Jersey Shore. I personally have never seen an episode, but I'm sure it was able to keep the sheeple from finding out that Obama dedicated an Oriental-looking Martin Luther King statue made in China. I mean, I can't believe that they couldn't find an African American to carve the memorial out of stone, and actually the stone came from China as well. The Cartoon Network is an important source of information for many of the sheeple, and I know that Toddlers and Tiaras takes up a lot of their time as well, and some would never think of missing the latest episode. But unfortunately those individuals probably missed the Dolly and Wanda Chinese company buying the U.S. cinema chain AMC in the biggest deal of a corporate takeover of a U.S. firm ever. This gives China access to 23 of the U.S.'s 50 highest grossing outlets, and now the world's largest movie chain.